Good morning, One Team Global. Nathan Ricks here. Happy to be with you this morning on the regular Friday broadcast. Again, I have to apologize for last week with my all kinds of connectivity problems down in Arizona, but happy to be back here at my office in Lehi, Utah, and ready to have a great conversation this morning. I love these broadcasts. I love being able to study and learn for myself and hopefully convey something to you that makes a difference in your day and in your life and in your future. Starting off, I want to just congratulate many people that had amazing starts to the year. You know, we started talking about this, the 5th, I think, of January, we did a broadcast. I did a broadcast here about goal setting. I've done 2 other broadcasts on this article by Darren Hardy talking about peak states and how that is the key trigger to help us change our lives, change our day, change our future, be able to make really significant decisions in our lives and be able to follow through on those decisions. And I've enjoyed my own process of refining my thinking, clarifying some of the things I've done throughout my life, and putting those in this framework or context that we that today. But first of all, congratulations to several new Blue Diamonds, Ashley Robichaux, Williams Robichaux. I guess we might know her better that way. For some of you, congratulations. Then we've got the Jacksons as well, become Blue Diamonds. Two brand new Blue Diamonds I know about in the last month that have accomplished that by the end of January. So a shout out to you guys. Congratulations. No small feat. And I know it's several years of effort, culmination, growth, change. And it's really the embodiment of what we talk about on these broadcasts and what I've talked about for the last couple of weeks leading up to what today will be the culmination of talking about this article about peak states. So anyway, with that, let's just kind of jump into things and get going. And for those of you joining us from around the world, I always enjoy seeing the comments and seeing some of the questions that come in from those of you that are listening in Asia and in Europe and Latin America from around the world. So welcome to the broadcast this morning. This is a great way to start your day, every day, Monday through Friday, right here on One Team Global Facebook page. You can get great information, great motivation from people that are successful leaders in this business, and we make a real effort to pass that baton around to a lot of people. And if you're a leader that wants to participate, let us know, because we'd love to hear from you and what your thoughts are as we move ourselves forward. We're all in this together, and so we're moving ourselves forward as a team through this process. I'm going to share my screen again just so we can buzz over here and get some of these things. You'll remember some of these. So we talked about this just really 2 weeks ago when we were on this topic of getting into a peak state. And about, I'll just go back and refresh your memory perhaps. We talked about how important your morning routine is to get you into a new place, to get you into this physical and mental state where you're ready to support the decision you've made. You know, making a decision is something that most people never do. They just don't ever really make a powerful, life-changing decision. They let life kind of take them where it's going to take them. They're the ship without the rudder. You know, the wind and the waves are going to blow them wherever life takes them. We've talked about the fact that most people are firefighters. They just run from one fire to another in their life, putting it out, instead of being the architect of their life and making a decision and designing their life, and, you know, deciding what their life's going to be and where they're going to go. I know a lot of times I've said, definitely, I'm doing this thing, or I'm going to be like that, or this is going to be the outcome of this. And people have looked at me like, are you cocky? Or are you just like ignorant? Are you stupid? What are you doing there? And it's something I learned a long time ago, which is you've got to manifest that future. You got to do it in your thoughts and your actions and in your words. And sometimes you need to make a definite statement about where you're going to other people that are around you. It's kind of like you put them on notice that you are going to live a different kind of life from this point right here going forward, that your life's going to be different. Some of us are afraid to do that. Some of us sit back in, you know, the closet of our own mind, and we sit back in the recesses deep inside the head, and we don't want to really say to anybody what we're actually thinking. Heaven forbid we actually broadcast with our mouth, you know, where we're going to go, because maybe that reality, that future, is so different from where we sit today, and the people that are in our current reality with us view us like them, and it's not the place we want to be. It's not the place we're going to end up. It's not the place we've decided to go, that it's laughable to them. Like they don't actually get it, right? And many times when we announce to people what we're going to do with our Nu Skin business, or we even share our goals of our Nu Skin business and our new future life and our new future reality, it's just a complete disconnect for people. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's so hard for people to get it, to understand, wow, I see this, I get what you get? Don't you find that frustrating that you come to this place where you learn something, you see something, and it all clicks to you? That makes complete sense. And all of a sudden you're there, you understand it in a new way, and so you make a decision. It's a bold, powerful decision. It's what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, right? And you want to make that decision from being in that peak state. Because when you experience that new form of reality that we talked about 2 weeks ago on this broadcast, right? Hardy talks about you get into this place, rare occasions sometimes. They're rare experiences people have where they get into this peak state and they have clarity about a new reality for themselves. And that doesn't happen very often. And that's why we talked about putting yourself in those peak states, right? How do you do that? You got to be in a place where you're around people that are different, that think like the reality you're going to, not like the one where you're coming from. And that happens at Team Elite University, Social Success Summit, Nu Skin conventions. In our world, these are the events, part of the event cycle that we want to participate in because we're in an environment now where people think differently. And we think differently. We get impacted differently. The thoughts are totally different. The energy is totally different. We can get into a peak state and we can make a powerful decision while we are in the peak state. I don't think you're going to make a really powerful decision to change your future and change where you're headed when you're just in some blasé, normal, run-of-the-mill, boring part of my life state. I don't think that can happen. So as Hardy talked about, hey, you want to put yourself into this peak state all the time because then you're acting, in the state from the position of where you made the decision. So you make the decision up here while you're at this peak state, and then for you to try to operate below that, it's not going to match the decision you've made. You're operating below this decision. You got to get your actions and your perceived reality and the daily routines you're going to do, you got to get them to match the peak state. So it's in congruency with the decision that you've made. And so that's why we like to do this kind of stuff at 8 a.m. in the morning. And hopefully you're up way before this, right? We talked about being up at 5 o'clock and getting most of your stuff done and out of the way. You're thinking and you're understanding and preparing yourself for the day and getting yourself in that peak state way before we get on this broadcast or we start making our contacts and building our business and building it all over the city, all over the state, all over the world, right? And so that's what we can do. So that's what that slide's all about. I'm going to pop down to the next one now. This is the next piece, okay? So we've gotten into this peak state. We've learned how to put ourselves there every day. We've got a morning routine that helps us to get into that peak state. So we're operating from that same level of the decision we've made when we were in the peak state. So now we're congruent. We understand that we're operating from a different level of understanding a new reality, and that's why people around us that aren't at that new reality or haven't experienced that peak state or don't want to change their future have that disconnect, right? Like they just don't get it. You want to shake them. Like, what is wrong with you? Don't you see this? It's like clear as a bell to me. You can't understand, why I'm excited about this and why you ought to be doing this too. You can't understand why you shouldn't just be, back and forth to work and home and just trading your whole life away for nothing at a job or, some company someplace that you're working for. You can't see how you can't step up with this vehicle and own your own life, change your own future. Those are the frustrating pieces for me, and I'm sure for anybody who's in Nu Skin that gets it. Like, why would you spend one more second, in a futile existence of trading your life away? I mean, to me, it just is like a complete mental disconnect. I don't even get it. I don't even understand it. It's not even part of my reality. So, we have to come from that different place, and once we do that, then we have to do some other things, all right? So we talked about acting, and when you act, you get clarity. When you act, you get certainty. When you act, you solidify your decision. These were conversations last week or 2 weeks ago we had on this broadcast, right? In the act of acting, in the act of moving aggressively towards your goals and taking the action on those things you need to do, picking up the phone, posting, reaching and connecting with people, actually having live conversations, sitting down face to face, one-on-one, evangelizing to people this new reality, evangelizing that they don't have to settle for what they thought they had to settle for in their life. They can have something a lot bigger and a lot better. Now that takes faith. And what you're doing by taking action is you're evidencing your faith, right? Faith is a principle of action. You know, you got to take action. You can't just sit back and think, well, I want to believe that, but not do anything. That doesn't accomplish anything. Faith is a principle of action. So you've got to take action and you've got to go pursue whatever that new decision is that you've made. You've got to act in the morning, get yourself in that state and act from that state of reality. And by taking that action at that level, you're now solidifying. You know, you're investing in the decision you've made. Now I want to talk about investing in that decision and focus on that and maybe one or two other topics while we wrap this up here today in the next 10 or 15 minutes, okay? So it's true that only those people that are invested are truly committed, right? We've always talked about what does it mean to be totally committed? You know, how do you know that you're completely committed? It's because you are daily taking aggressive action towards your goals. Remember, massive action solves all problems, right? If you're depressed about your business, it's not going the way you want. You want them to act, right? Or they need to act in their own best interest for the future and for their family. You have got to just take massive action. You can't make people do this. You can't, drag them across the goal line in a headlock, right? You can't drag a horse to water and make it drink, okay? What you got to do is you got to find those people by continually recruiting, speaking, and moving. And you can't let people that drop off of their decision dissuade you or discourage you from where you're headed, because you're going to get up and get in that peak state, and you're going to operate from that peak level every day. And in taking that peak level of action, you're evidencing to yourself and all those around you that you are absolutely committed to this goal, and you're going to accomplish this goal. And that is infectious. That's what drives people to come with you, to follow you, that want to be on that same track. I tell people all the time, the ship is leaving the dock. The train is leaving the station. If you want to come with me, you've got to get on the train now. And that makes people start to think, wow, something's happening here. Something different is going to take place. It's not just my same old reality, my same old job, my same old future, which is blah, I hate it. I don't want to do that. I was talking to a person this week who said, I hate my job. I loathe going there every day. Can you imagine living your life like that? This person said, I'm completely stuck in my life and I hate it. I don't know what to do to get out of it. Well, what you do to get out of it is you've got to get yourself into a place where you can get into a peak state and see a new reality. And then once you do it, you've got to make a decision while in that state that's, up here. And you got to realize that your daily environment and those people around you, just like this person I was speaking with, their whole environment is set up to support their life the way it is today. Everything about your environment, where you go, who you hang out with, the way you think, the work you do, everything is supporting the current environment. How are you going to ever break out of that unless you get yourself into that peak state and you operate from a totally different level and you change who you are? You change the way you think, and that's why you get a different life. The life we all have today is because of who we are and the way we think today. Otherwise, it would be different. If we thought differently, our life would be different. If we acted differently, our life would be different. But we don't do those things, so we have the reality we have today. Peak state, make the decision every day, get back there, operate from the decision, take action at that level. People around you are going to go, what are they doing? They're crazy, or I don't get it. Yep, that's to the crazy ones, right? Thinking different, new form of reality, that's where they're operating from, and that's where you need to get to and operate from. That's what I'm trying to do on a daily basis, to elevate my thinking and my view of where we're headed and what we're going to accomplish in this company and what I'm going to accomplish in my life. And so you got to start investing. Now, some people will say, okay, so what does that mean? Hardy points out, this is a great point, and I've seen this so many times. Many of you know that I've taken my new skin earnings and I've made consistent investments in real estate. And so, we have a very significant real estate portfolio in a place that is one of probably 5 places in the United States of America where there's this really powerful high-tech ecosystem happening. And I am making big investments all the time in these, buildings and real estate around me, and I'm acting from a state that a lot of people think is crazy. And they're like, wow, but I definitely see what's happening. I see a new reality. I'm doing it in a way that is, I believe, safe and prudent and rational, but in many people's minds, They think, wow, they're really hanging out there. Any entrepreneur, and I'm dealing with lots of these entrepreneurs, people that are starting new companies and people that are deciding whether they're joining Nu Skin or not, right? They're all the same. It's all making a decision from that new place, new reality. You're going to go make something happen, and you're the visionary, and you're the one that is constantly painting that future through your words as you're speaking to people. Here's the big thing. People can have all these ideas, they can make this decision, they can do it from a peak state, they can start taking action, but the pivotal event happens when people make the investment. You know, the pivotal event happens when they believe it enough to quit their job. The pivotal event happens when they believe it enough to make a big investment in that idea or that future. Now, in Nu Skin, you really cannot make a really huge, substantial investment of money. You know, it just doesn't take that much money. That's why I've said for decades, this is the best business model I've ever seen. You want to take, you know, any person anywhere, and, you know, I watch people that have nothing. They come from the wrong side of the tracks, you know, they've never had any breaks in their life, they've never had any education. They find this company and they educate themselves. And it starts to put them on this path of personal growth and transformation where they go to a different place, a new reality, and they become Blue Diamonds and Team Elites, and they and their families' lives are changed forever. Their way of thinking, their educations they can give to their kids, to themselves, it changes everything forever. It did it for me. I mean, when I started in this business, I had $30,000 in savings after years of hard scraping, you know, brokering real estate and trying to save every nickel, you know, and that's the grind that most people are in. And you can't do it by just saving. It's not going to be enough. You'll never make enough money in your life and just save enough and invest a little bit to think you're ever really going to be free. It won't happen. Can't happen. It's just too little. So you got to massively improve the offense. You can't just play defense all the time. You got to massively improve the offense. And if you can massively improve the offense and increase your income exponentially by many times, you know, then you can pay your taxes. Then you can still enjoy life. Then you can still take nice vacations and give experiences and fund education. But you're doing it while you're in this vehicle of growing your income by building your distribution channel around the globe with Nu Skin. So when entrepreneurs make the big investment, either they quit their job, they invest their money, and for you guys in this business, what does that mean? It means you make a commitment to come to the big events. You come to Social Team Elite University, you come to Social Success Summit, you come to the Leadership Conference, you come to the global conventions or the regional conventions, right? You do those events so that you come and you elevate that peak state. You reinforce that decision. What is your investment? Your investment is airfare or drive your car and gas and a couple of nights of hotels, and once in a while there's a nominal fee for you to participate in the actual event. That's your investment in this business. Your other investment could be in listening and learning from other people that can help you think more clearly. You know, a lot of this information is free, but you might need to buy a $99 course that you're going to literally go through because you think it's going to be one of the best things you can do. So what we give you, what we're trying to provide for you is the information that you need. You know, getting up early, listening to these broadcasts, making that investment of time into yourself and in your business. What I try to do is I'm trying to take what people are saying out there in the general world of self-improvement and motivation, a lot of which is self-serving to them. You know, a lot of it is they just want your money. They want you to pay them for their course. And I'm not saying that it's a waste of money. I'm saying that there is probably a nugget or two in those different things that you can go buy or read that are going to actually help you, okay? But they don't actually put it in the context, for instance, of this business. You know, people can give you self-help and you can learn, and those things are all great. And I want you to do it. I want you to learn. There's so much material, great books you can read, you know, audio courses you can listen to, you know, do it on Audible, do it on your mobile while you're walking around, while you're exercising, while you're driving someplace, you know. Think about these things that can help you change. There is a ton of it that doesn't cost you anything. It's all online. You know, it's online, it's on YouTube and so forth. There's some of it that you're going to pay for, and that's okay too. But you're going to have to make an investment, mostly of time and of some money. And as you get going, you're going to make bigger investments over time. And you're going to surround yourself with the people that are in that same process. of making those decisions. Now, once you've made this decision, you've got on this path, sometimes your ego, sometimes your pride will take you and you'll start to go in the wrong direction. And that's why it's so important that you are connected to your upline and you're connected to your sidelines that are focused on the business, and you're moving in the right direction. You're not cross-lining. You're not sharing information sidelines with people that you shouldn't. You're focused on your future. Most of the guidance is coming from your upline, from the company in some cases, and it's going to help you stay focused from the people that have a financial interest in your success. And this is why the team is so important. This is why knowing this is a team sport is so important. This is not an individual sport. It's a team sport, as Tommy Johnson is fond of saying, and has taught me that phrase, that it really codifies, what you should be thinking about when you're doing this team. Your job is to connect these people to other people that are operating from that same state, that new reality, right? People that know how to get into a peak state all the time, that know how to share that vision. And so you got to do that. And when you start to veer off because of ego or pride, and those are the two things that I watch most people veer off. They think, oh, I know all about this, go some other completely different direction. Bad mistake, Just stick with the basics, guys. That's all System 7 is. Stick to the basic things that are the actions that you got to do every day that'll move your business forward. I've seen this for 28 years plus, okay? And it's just like, stay focused, right? We say all the time, make your first $1 million our way. After that, you can do whatever you want, but you won't do anything else because you'll then understand the principles and the building blocks that make this business work. So that's the key thing. Remember, if you're striving to do something you've never done, you're going to have to act from a different place, think in a different way. You're going to have to surround yourself with people that understand where you're going, that believe in that same reality, and they're going to make it happen. So the more invested you are, the more your identity will change. You start to view yourself differently, and when you do that, your confidence is different. People view you differently. I mean, from the very beginning, when I finally got this thing and it clicked in my brain that it's all about the leverage, it's about this vehicle that allows us to leverage ourselves. It's about leveraging ourselves through building this distribution channel. It's about being an executive factory. It's about creating this distribution team that will consume product and create customers, and all of that adds up to a tremendous amount of volume that you can get overrides on every month. And that residual, in the end, won't depend on you at all. That network will become so big, and you'll be such a little teeny piece of the totality of the network that your actions every day don't matter. So now you're free. Now you can go do whatever you want to do. You don't have to show up 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or 8 to 7, and not work when your kids are having plays or you want to go to their birthday or activities, and you can't. Okay, you're now in charge. You're now free, and you get this ability to do things you've never been able to do before, right? And it's because you have changed. I started talking about this to people in rooms with people that are 20, 30 years older than me. And these people are sitting in these rooms and they're shaking their head. How did this kid figure this out in his 20s? How did he figure out that you can waste your whole life working for somebody else and it will never really add up to anything? Man, I'm telling you, when I got it, that was the most powerful, motivating, driving force for me. And I was literally felt like it was my calling in life, and I still do, to evangelize that, to help people understand it so they don't waste their whole life trading it away working for some company, that they're working their own dream. They're not being hired to work somebody else's dream. And what's the key to Nu Skin? It's the vehicle. It's the structure. It's the environment that's been put in place, right? It's the business model that we can all plug into. That's a totally different kind of business model. Way lower financial risk. Way more diversification. Way more scalability than you can in virtually any business that I've seen that you can start. And so you got to get heavily invested. One way you can heavily invest yourself in this business is to tell the people around you the audacity of your goals, of your future. Verbalize it. Go public, Put yourself out there so that now people are watching you. You've made the commitments, and you've verbalized the commitments to other people that are going to hold you accountable, or that are trying to hope you fail so that you don't crawl out of the crab pot while they're stuck in the bottom of it, right? Next item here, be honest with yourself about the changes you must make to evolve. Like we said before, if you're operating from the same state you've always been, if you're sucked into the current environment you're living in, everything in that entire environment is supporting your current reality. That's not going to cut it. You got to get into that peak state. You got to operate from that decision level up here. And that's why the people down here don't get it. So you got to be honest with yourself. Are you doing that? Are you operating from that peak state all the time that's going to help you to evolve and become that future person, right? This is a great quote. The more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in combat. From one of the leaders of the SEAL teams, Richard Marcinko, I guess. Marcinko, probably. Marcinko. Anyway, great quote, Yeah, you got to train, but where does training happen in our company? In Nu Skin, it's on-the-job training, guys. We've said it many times. Training doesn't work. Work trains. Kenton Worthington's famous statement, right? You got to go out there and do it by doing the actual work, by taking action, by exercising that faith and putting that step out there, stepping into the dark, and right before the foot strikes the ground, it illuminates just that piece in front of you. Then you take the next step, and it illuminates again. Take the next step, and you will never know the whole path. You're not going to know every step and every side step you need to take. Nobody knows that. No entrepreneur knows exactly how they're going to get to the end goal. They just know what the end goal is. And you verbalize the end goal. You know what your end goal is. It's Team Elite. It's $20 million circle. That's your end goal of your experience in Nu Skin. And so you're going to take whatever path you have to take by taking action, stepping into the dark every day, moving forward, preparing, growing, operating from a peak state. As you take that action, massive action solves all problems. You start to change. Your confidence grows. You're on this new path, and you're becoming a new person, right? Why do you come to those big events? It's not so much for the training. It's for the peak state. It's for seeing how people think that are already doing this, that are already in those peak states, right? That's why it happens. Give other people credit, right? Focus on what they're doing. This is what happens when you become a leader in Nu Skin. When you become a leader, you want to push your people up on stage. You want them to have the accolades. You want them to be applauded for. You want them to have the limelight. You want them to be doing the different parts and pieces of the business, right? You want them doing the presentations. You want them doing the talking on the webinars, right? So yeah, this is what you want to do. Push people forward. We're in the leadership development business. It's all about leadership in this company. It's about creating executives, executive factory, and then those people then take the next step, and we watch them transform themselves. All right, so in closing, you got to fight every day for that decision, right? One of my favorite songs is you got to fight for the right for freedom, right? You got to fight for that right to be free. Freedom. We got to fight for it. And there's a great quote I read years ago that every generation has to experience, their own fight for freedom. In 1 or 2 generations, people don't realize what people fought for their countries, for their freedom, for their lifestyles they have, for the way that they've been able to survive and enjoy life. You know what? If you don't make the sacrifice to fight for the decision you've made, then nobody else is going to fight for it for you. You're the only one who can do it. You've got to be the one who says, it's up to me. It's up to me, right? Same stuff. You've got to fight for that decision. How do you do it? You peel your back off the mattress every morning early. You get in that peak state. You're conscious about what you're doing. You operate from that new level. You act and exercise faith and solidify it. And as you do it, you change, you grow, and then you start to build this team and you become a different person. You continue to invest in yourself. You never arrive at a point where you go, okay, it's all done. I've arrived. I'm done. I don't need to invest in myself anymore. No, you got to keep going, guys, and you got to keep doing it every day. I hope to keep doing it every day. I hope to keep changing, growing, getting better, and becoming a better human being. And I know you do too. So thank you very much for plugging in today on this broadcast. That's the end of kind of this article from Benjamin Hardy, and what great information that we've had for the last several weeks dissecting this. I've got a whole new presentation for you next week, so hope you'll tune back in next Friday. Ask Anything Friday. If you've got specific questions, post them here on One Team Global's Facebook page, and we'll do our best to respond to all those as we go through the week every week. Everybody have a great great Friday, a great weekend as you're out on weekends where you can invest more time in this business than you may get to do during the week with a day job. Jealously guard your time. Your blocks of time are yours, and you got to invest them to execute this exit strategy from the life you're in to the life you're going to go to, and I believe that you'll be able to do it. So thanks so much.